Alright, how's everybody doing today? Another day at the lake for Scott and Miss Maisie there. So I tagged old Jacob of Israel there. Anybody who watches, what, the 20 or to 50 people who watch my videos probably all know who he is. If not, go check him out. He calls himself a meatball sitting at a computer with lots of stuff running through his head. And, you know, I don't know this guy. From the sounds of it, we're very similar because, you know, I'm kind of that batshit crazy guy that comes up with all this stuff running through my head that I post on YouTube. And look at that. That is just not gonna get it done. But anyhow, oh, that's just fuzzy. Ultra wide. Boy, my camera, ever since I broke that lens, it's really kind of messing up. But anyhow, and if Jacob, if you stop by and check this out, just wondering why you got tagged, I just want to say, hey, thank you for the insight on the whole Aaron Judge chasing of the home run record. Very symbolic, and I deal a lot with symbolism as well, so that was quite the catch there to see that. And also I got to say that he's also, other than me, the only one that's hitting on the idea that you know, New Jerusalem, Israel being surrounded, is Ukraine. Like I said, he did a video, it's probably going on 2 weeks ago, talking about the baseball chase when Aaron Judge was still at 60. And gotta watch for the dog. And he said that same thing. So the other part of that too is, Jacob, if you do stop by, thanks for that, is you know, also the Bible's been a little bit inverted. So the army from the north is actually coming out of the South China Sea. I've been talking about that one for a couple months now. That seems to be how I see that one playing out. So that might be a little more insight for you if you ever watch this. And then the other tidbit I want to extend to you is, consider the possibility that time is actually running backwards. And that's why all the events of the Bible are being lived out symbolically. Because, you know, if you watch any of my videos, I refer to this place as not reality. There's reality and then not reality. Excuse me. So, and then the other thing I want to throw out there is, I had a comment. Someone thought I was MIA, missing in action, been a while, haven't been in any chat rooms, and I haven't. I no longer have service on my phone here. So I have to rely on these free Wi-Fi spots to sit at. So I'm recording this, thinking that at some point, maybe later today or tomorrow, I'll be at a spot and I can at least get it uploaded. So there's that. Now the other part of it all is, so we got the whole bit with Armitus in the news, and Jacob touched on this. So Armitus and Apollo were twins, and there was some kind of complication involving their birth. And Apollo was actually born, I think it was 7 or 9 days, I don't remember now. I read about it a while back. Later than Armitus was. In fact, it is said that Armitus, in those 7 days, I think it was, became a midwife and actually helped her twin be born. Part of the fable has Armitus watching Apollo go around the moon from Orion. Orion the hunter, Armitus the hunter. Yes, she was a hunter. And Jacob touched a bit on this too. But the other part of that is she's the only one in of her siblings who were not bisexual, according to some of the writings. Now, the funny thing there is, you know, is it bisexual as in liked both sexes, or is it bisexual as in was a hermaphrodite? Because I'm going to say something here that I said in a chat room not too long ago, and it made somebody get triggered and called me twisted, evil, and vile just for saying it. But you know, Eve being made from Adam's rib, right? That's back to the DNA thing. And look around, you're in the Garden of Eden, boys and girls. Is there not a big transgender thing going on? That's because part of the story that's being played out, and that was the other thing that Jacob hit on, was the great sign in heaven in 2017. I've talked about that I consider to be the starting point of the apocalypse, the unveiling, right? And the unveiling too could also just be taking the dome off this bad boy and unveiling us to the universe. Okay, but I think there's more to it than that. I'm not even sure if this is... Yeah, we're still going. There's a whole lot of symbolism to it all, right? That's because the story's playing out. They got to show you the story. It's just not going to be the same way that it was when it originally happened. We talked about that with the crossing of the Red Sea. It just is what it is. This is the new part of the lake. I've been here before, and actually when I was recording down here last time, water was all the way up over those trees there. So it's really gone down quite a bit here, and you can see all the stumps out there in it. So anyway, Armitus, being a hunter, and her family being bisexuals, you know, probably one of the original tainted, you know, and there's several stories involving those two. Said they were lovers. One story has Armitus actually killing Orion for trying to rape her. There's another story where Orion grabbed Armitus up by her gown, her robe, and killed her, slayed her. So, you know, they both could have slayed each other for the reasons given at hand, probably rape, if you know the story. That's probably very true. And see, but there again, just like Adam was probably one and a group of people, just like Satan was probably a group of people with a leader. They always have a leader. We have leaders, right? But they're not right. But, you know, is Armitus and Orion Adam and Eve? It just, you know, it's a whole, you know, there's a reason that the pyramid, the Great Pyramids, and I've talked about this before, how they point to Orion's belt. Okay, there's a reason for everything. So, I'm not, you know, NASA always has these windows of opportunity to launch their rockets, right? Yet Elon seems to be just sending them up left and right whenever he can. He's not waiting on a window. So what kind of windows is NASA looking for? You know, you look at things out a window or in windows. You know, when it talks about Armitus watching Apollo go around the moon from Orion, yeah, there's probably certain windows of opportunity that when we do step down here, it can be seen from other places, and vice versa. Now, I'm not sure how those windows work, if they're like portals. But there again, you know, if you go from the great sign in heaven in 2017 forward, I said they're showing you how it was done. So when the change of leadership went down the way it did, that's exactly the stories of the Anunnaki. And that would be the fallen ones, because there again, you know, the only way you can fix your DNA is to go back to where it all happened, because we were made special. The other thing that he brought up, that Jacob, that is I was completely unaware of this, because one, I don't follow these things and I don't have service on my phone. He said that there's a new Netflix, I think he said. And there again, I'd love to go back and research all this, but I don't have service anymore, so I can't just do a quick research and refresh my memory from almost 2 weeks ago. He said, but I think a new Netflix program coming out, Titans, the original inhabitants of Earth. And that is who we are. You know, people, you know, I talk to people all the time and, you know, tell them how we were built, how we were made, who we're supposed to be, and nobody buys into that. And who knows, you know, all it takes is one person to put something into the common consciousness to make it available for everybody. And who knows, maybe I'm just that one lucky guy who's gonna bring us out of here to back to being Titans, or whatever the labeling is. I refer to it as, you know, the Supermen people, you know, the Jedi. You know, in the Bible it says, you know, we'll be able to move mountains. When you go to church, they explain it away as, you know, obstacles in your life that seem like mountains, you can overcome them. No, what it really means is that little hill right there in front of me, all I got to do is just reach out and just through thought and energy, move it, period. That's how you move mountains according to the Bible. It isn't this little wishy-washy, you know, things that happen in you, because that is true. It's all symbolic. Every single thing is symbolic. All the, you know, that Bible is up to interpretation. The other thing you got to remember too is all of it, including the Bible, there's nothing special about that book. I hate to tell you. And this is where I get in trouble living here in the Bible Belt. I'm blaspheming, blah, blah, blah. But it's all a form of history. His story. Even that book, it's told by the winners. Look at the heroes that are in that book. They all have names. We've discussed, if you have a name, you're not one of the Godheads, right? God doesn't have names. God is a term we use. What is a God? It's a word. It's symbolic of great things. Okay? So it is what it is. I just like that meatball Jacob sitting at his computer. I'm just the guy that wanders around the lake with my own thoughts that are crazy, and I put them out on video. So that guy, you know, the Titans, that's who we, in fact, going back to the baseball thing, just looking, because I kind of got curious about the whole Roger Maris record being gone after by, I think his name's Aaron Judge, right? Which he's got it now. At the time, he didn't. So every time I found myself in an area where I had Wi-Fi, I'd look at the baseball thing. And around here, the Kansas City Royals are big, and they were currently in a meet with the Cleveland Guardians, who used to be the Cleveland Indians. So if you stop time right here and stop it from going backwards and go forward, like everybody thinks we're doing, they're telling you the Guardians became the Indians. And ironically enough, there's an article, you'll have to Google it, something to do with, the article says something about evolution taking place right before our eyes, because they're finding these black frogs, these black Chernobyl frogs over in Russia. Okay, just like I keep saying, humans, we don't evolve. Everybody seems to think, you know, there's another guy out there that has a very popular channel, talks about how our DNA receptors are being turned on and all. No, our dormant DNA is going to stay dormant, because your DNA makes up who you are. It's responsible for your color of hair, everything about you, your color of eyes, right? How you're built, everything is tied up in your DNA. So if your DNA, if your dormant DNA started becoming active, you'd be like Lou Ferrigno and the Hulk. Remember that TV program? What was his name? David Banner. Had some kind of gamma radiation accident in his lab, and he'd morph into this big green thing, right? Now there are some people, and I'm not so sure, I'm not buying into that one either. Like I said, I'm open-minded to a lot of stuff. You know, some people think we were originally green. So if we were, you're seeing what happened to our colors. A lot of the black community think that they were here first. Well, if you take the green frog and expose it to radiation and it turns black, there's probably some truth to that. But once you take the black frog and expose it to radiation, it's probably going to turn brown or red. And then you expose that color to more radiation, and whichever, the brown or red, it'll be the next color, one or the other. I don't know if it goes black, brown, red, yellow, white, or if it goes black, red, brown, yellow, white. Okay? But in my one video, I talked about symbolically World War III taking place, with India launching a rocket and China and all these people launching rockets on the same day, right? And the reason why that got me going was because there's actually radioactive isotopes in the sands over in India that could only have gotten there from nuclear war. Okay, we've been through nuclear war several times, probably at least 5 or 6 times. That's why even the natives, okay, so go back to the Guardians being turned into the Indians, which are natives. Well, look at all the natives. You got the Aborigines. There's natives on every continent, and they all have different colored skin, because they've all been subject to the same radioactive wars. Just my opinion. He also mentioned in his video Neptune, Poseidon, right? And that gets back to one of the videos I was talking about. 1/3 of the stars were thrown to the earth. You know, I'm pretty sure our solar system, and I've said it before, it's S-O-U-L, soul, not S-O-L. S-O-U-L-A-R. All the souls are here. We've all been shrunk down to the size of pebbles on a beach. Remember, because that's how we fit into Middle Earth. That's what the Hopi prophecies of ascension are about. Is moving from Middle Earth back to the surface, because the surface, we can't live there. If you think of the movie The Matrix, Morpheus took Neo to the surface, remember? And it was a barren wasteland. They all lived down in Zion, oddly enough, that's what they called it, in the middle of the earth where it's still warm, according to that movie. And I'm pretty sure, and there's a whole lot more than this. You know, you get into the 13th tribe and the missing warriors, which is us. You know, you got to look into the Dominion Wars to find out what happened there. Because, you know, there again, it's there's a lot of stuff that covers a lot of stuff, right? You just kind of have to weed through it. But in the Dominion Wars, you know, there was a race of beings found that they thought had been lost forever. Well, that was us. And then somewhere on one of my phones that I can't do much about now because nothing has service and da-da-da-da-da, you know, there's an actual picture that I got from a buddy of mine. It's like an asteroid with a bubble on it. So if you find the missing people clinging to what's left of Earth after it's destroyed, and you put a bubble on it to protect it or around it, and then everybody's inside and you shrink it down and stow it away and hide it for safekeeping, because that's the essence of life. We are the essence of life, the tree of life. Nobody buys that because they seem to think that, no, we're human and we're gonna, you know, we're in the process of evolving. No, we were made perfect in the beginning. The Bible says that. We were made perfect. So if you were made perfect, you're not going to evolve into anything. You just become. All the evolution that has ever taken place here that involves humans, which is homogenized man, right? I've talked about this before. Just involved further tainting of the DNA and the physical structure of what made us up. We didn't evolve. We were messed with. Just like that frog, that black frog's not evolving over there. It's suffering from being contaminated by radiation. So like I said, welcome to Eden. It's the big transgender project, right? Where all these women are being made from boys. And because they're, again, like I said, in part of the story, they got to show you what happened. So again, moving forward from 2017 to the current, you know, we've had the election process. We had the whole, you know, different breakout, COVID, whatever, monkeypox. And those are just symbolic representations of times that we were messed with and what we were messed with by. That's all I can say about that. And it got to the point where I said in one of my videos that, you know, all the natural women were killed. You know, hence probably the story between Orion and Armitus. But it never got off the ground, so it was never viewed. Okay, and chances are it's probably not going to get off the ground because that timeline isn't going to happen. All these timelines are going away. We're going back to what we used to be, how we used to do things. So anyway, so all the women were killed. That's why there was no formula for the babies, right? They can't make every woman disappear again and do away with breast milk, so they did away with the closest thing, you know, symbolic, that they could. Okay? The reason that, you know, Biden got into office and immediately turned everything off as far as all the oil exploration and stuff like that, because he's playing the part of Enlil. Remember, in Enlil, in one of my previous videos, was the one credited with the assault on Mother Nature. And what do you think? All these oil derricks, and we've talked about this, the whole petroleum industry is nothing but a big corrupt, tears up the earth. You know, your electric car batteries aren't any better either. Go look at what a lithium mine looks like. I'm telling you. Any of this stuff you see going on down here is not right, period. Doesn't matter how you want to dress it up, no matter how you know, it is what it is. I'm telling you, you're not going to convince me of anything other than what I believe, what I've come to know. So we'll just get that out of the way, if that hasn't become apparent yet. So anyway, so not only Did the formula thing represent all the women, all the natural women being killed? Now we're to the point that we're in this wonderful Garden of Eden and we're making girls out of boys and boys out of girls. Okay? It's just how it was done. And I have a lot of female friends, and if you know me, I love the females. Okay? But this is why the females are so in touch with their masculine side. That everybody seems, even the other females notice that the females are in touch with their, because they were made from males. All the originals were dead. All the original guys are dead too, for that matter. Everything was killed. We've discussed that. We were killed. The earth was killed. You know, God doesn't make junk. You don't have junk DNA like science wants to tell you. The asteroid belt isn't leftovers from the creation of the solar system. It's what happened to everything. Those are blown up planets. You figure, my guess is you've got the inner planets of Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, and all its inhabitants, and the sun, their corresponding suns. You know, you got Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune. Some of the lore out there has Venus being birthed by Jupiter, right? That was a sun at one point, a bright shining star in some lore. So all those beings are down here on Earth. There again, if you watch the movie They Live, and for those of you who haven't seen it, check it out. I'm telling you. You know, I'm just a guy out here in the middle of nowhere. I got no dog in this fight. I got no reason to make up these stories. I've read, you know, I've done, you know, this is the kind of research I've been doing since like 2012. A buddy of mine and I figured out, because he's been doing it kind of right alongside me from a distance. He's over in North Carolina. But we talk, and we have talked, and we share info and insight. And he's been going at it as long as I have. And you know, if you attended Yale University or Harvard or any of these places and acquired up to, say, 35,000 hours of credit, how many masters is that? I think it's 10,000 for a master, right? That's, you know, we figured out the math. I've got about 35,000 hours of my time devoted to reading the stories, getting the info, and probably a significant part of that 35,000 hours is going to the kingdom within for the answers. Every single answer you are looking for. And that's what the apocalypse is about, right? The unveiling, supposedly all the truth will be told. Well, they're not going to tell you on your TV, say one day you turn on the news and, oh my God, we're getting this incredible downloaded truth from the news. It ain't going to happen. The only way you're going to find the truth is if you look for it. And there's some things that I've been looking for since, like I said, I was 5 years old. So because I was looking for those things, these are the things that I'm seeing. I'm sure Jacob's been looking for certain things for, you know, who knows how long with him. I can only speak from my own experience and the things that I see and the things that I've learned and what I believe. And that's what I put out on video. So thank you for the tidbits there, Jacob. Appreciate it. I hope the time going backwards might help you with some of your tidbits and what you're seeing, and put together some of the storyline that you're looking for. Because everybody's looking for different things, right? You know, ultimately, everybody wants the truth, but in a lot of cases, the truth is a very hard pill to swallow. You know, like I said, I made the statement in a chat room one time about Eve being made from Adam's rib, being DNA, and I was called twisted, evil, and vile. That's because when all this happened to us, we were children. We did not understand. But now, like I said, with time going backwards, the consciousness has a chance to learn, and we see what happened, and we're all going, ooh, we don't want that, we don't want that. So, you know, just like they're calling it a global reset, you know, that's because we're going to go from being in this flat earth in the middle, about the size of a grain of pebble there. And I'm pretty sure, you know, that story of the box that holds immense power, the Ark of the Covenant, you know. Well, what is a covenant? It's you know, it can be viewed as an agreement amongst people, right? You know, we all agreed to jump into this little box, be shrunk down, and bring life back as we know it. And because we are the source of all the universe, it is a very powerful, sought-after little box, would be my guess. In fact, being down here in Middle Earth, we probably supply the magnetosphere around the globe Earth because she's destroyed, right? She doesn't have her own protection. We're probably it. And the reason the poles are moving is because it has to do more with our thoughts and our hearts. You know, we're being pulled. I keep saying this sun right here that we stare at every day isn't our sun. When the Bible talks about, you know, coming for his bride, that's our original sun coming for its original bride, the earth. We are the offspring, the children. We came right out of the ground, full grown, but small and conscious. All we knew about was the things of the earth. Because they were waiting for us when we got birthed, as above, so below. Or the doctor's not waiting for you when you're birthed. So they were waiting for us. And there was somewhere else I was going to go with that, but had skipped my mind, and since I don't do this from notes. So yeah, the Garden of Eden, it's a wonderful place, isn't it? And there again, the narcissist that wrote all this, okay, that's how you have to view it. Some people will tell you, oh, that's just a label of a particular kind of person on a particular kind of walk. Well, yeah, it is, but there again, I didn't spend all these years and hours going through psychology and all this other crap to learn how people act. And, you know, the narcissist wants you to take fault for their misdeeds, and they want credit for all your good. So it had nothing to do with what Adam and Eve may or may not done in that garden, whether they ate from the right tree or the wrong tree. That's just more blame being put on two individuals that had nothing to do with their circumstance, because they were already changed. They were no longer the Titans. Okay? Just like I don't believe anybody died for my sins, because we're not the ones that did this. You know, the first will be last, the last will be first. This particular flat earth scenario that we're running through has probably been through 5 different cycles, this one being the 6th, the number of man. So since we were the first put in, we'll be the last to leave. That's why that Jesus character told his disciples, hey, it's time for you guys to go, but I have to stay. Right? He had to stay. Because his people, you know, they've probably already had their timeline restored. They weren't one of the first in here, so they left before we did. That's, again, like I've been saying, that's part of what I think the rapture is. They all have to leave and go back to where they came from, and then we get to ascend out of here back to a globe Earth where everything is restored, because like I've said before, that Bible doesn't say anything about anything being restored. In fact, it says nothing new under the sun. I said this in my last video. We are all still Satan's baby. Satan's your baby daddy. Just like Darth Vader and Luke. Okay, no one wants to believe that. The Bible says all will be restored. And that's where it's going to happen in a twinkle of an eye. We get our old bodies back, our old ways back, our powers back. But that's just my take on it. So I don't know how much forward in time more of the story we have to see play out. We've already lost all the women and the men. We're to the Garden of Eden where they're making boys out of girls and girls out of boys. Now, we're not going to have to live out the whole trip, you know, where we destroy everything, because like I said, that marker in time has already came and went. I'm not sure. I heard that, you know, we're doing missile drills over there in South Korea. North Korea launched a missile, supposedly. Like I said, I'll get into some Wi-Fi. I'll be able to upload this video. And I'll do some more research, hopefully. But, you know, gosh, I'm getting so tired of research. It seems like I spend just so much time actually out here at the lake without any service. Yeah, I haven't done any research at all. It's been quite nice. I can just sit in pure silence all the time waiting for answers, because that's how you find them, right? That's why we're given 2 eyes, 2 ears, and only 1 mouth. We hear twice as much as we're supposed to speak, see twice as much as we're supposed to speak on. And some things we see aren't meant for everybody. You know, as far as I'm guessing, because there's things that I see and I put it out there, and then people get offended and triggered, and so obviously it wasn't for their eyes to see. Otherwise it wouldn't have triggered them, or they just weren't ready to accept that part yet. You know, that I don't know. I've said all along, I don't know how any of this plays out. I just know it's playing out. And, you know, like I said, Jacob, if you're watching this still, or if you get any of this, like I said, thanks for the tidbits on the baseball race. Thanks for the confirmation on the Ukraine, which there again, personally, I don't need, and this isn't anything bad. You know, just like people watching this video, they don't need me telling them a story. They can get the story just as easily as I got it. You know, the truth doesn't need me to speak for it. It's out there regardless. So basically, even when we confront people and ask questions about their belief, you know, you already know the answers. You're just getting confirmation on them, right? So that was like good confirmation coming from a pretty open-minded individual that sees a lot of symbolic things happening like I do. So I just wanted to give him a particular shout out on that, and I hope I've been able to help him maybe a little bit, thinking, you know, to look at the time running backwards thing. That would be what, Matthew 20 verse 16. The first will be last, the last will be first. If you think of Sports Center, there's the finish line. everybody runs across, you stop the film, go backwards. That last guy across is now the first guy back. It's mentioned in the Nag Hammadi as Sophie's correction. And they all change names, right? Is it Sophie? Is it Gaia? Earth is just heart, right? And that's probably why the book says this realm will be destroyed by fire. Because if it is sitting where the core is supposed to be, and we are acting as Earth's core for right now, once everything is restored and we ascend out of here, then yeah, this probably will be eaten up by the core. So, just wanted to get a video done. It's done. I'll end it up here in a minute. But yeah, we're still doing fine, me and Maisie. Now I just got to get into an aerial Wi-Fi. So if you don't hear from me for a while, or you know, whatever, I'm still fine. I'm doing good. We had our first potential freeze last night where it got pretty cold, but you know, no big deal. It's bright and sunny today. It's warmed up again. Cold's relative, just like the heat. Although I'm finding in the cold, you can put layers on and stay warm. In the heat, you can only take so much off before it becomes indecent exposure. So there's just that little tidbit. So, but I don't mind any of it, mainly because again, and this is the part, you know, even Jacob said, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, and it might. But realistically, I mean, how much worse can it get? We're not going to do the whole nuclear war thing, so get that out of everybody's head. We're not going to, how long have they been talking about running out of food? Everybody still got food, right? You know, it's fear porn. Fear porn, fear porn, fear porn, fear porn. They can only talk about upcoming events like, oh, there might be another COVID outbreak come this December. Get vaccinated now. There, you know, the rumors of war, you know, before I lost service a couple of weeks ago, there was an article about, oh, we're probably going to have a war within 2 months. Well, that is a rumor of a war when you speak of things that haven't happened yet or not directly to you. It's gossip, rumor, whatever you want to call it. It's all labels. You know, but the whole wars and rumors of wars, you know, it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf, right? I mean, how many wars have there been? That's what people say. Yeah, well, what makes this war any different? Well, it's not this one thing. There's a whole bunch going on that's different, isn't there? That kind of denotes the time that we're in. The sun's different. The clouds are different. Everything's different if you've been paying attention. And because there again, we've been through these cycles, so that's what everybody's going to say is, you know, yeah, it's just a cycle. This always happens. Da 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 da. Okay, well, I just don't see it that way. So we're good, everybody. We're having fun. I'll try and venture off and get into a Wi-Fi spot and get this uploaded for everybody. So now the other side of that too is, you know, if you've ever left a comment on any of my videos, I always reach out and get in touch and answer them and say, hey, probably going to be a little bit more difficult not having the service like I normally do, and relying on the Wi-Fi, but I'll see what I can do there as well. But really, it's you know, I left so much on the table in the hands of God, universe, everything that isn't me, because, you know, there's a song by Soundgarden, something about live to rise again. Just like the sun, we live to rise again. And there's a lyric in there that says, what if everything you know is what fits in the palm of your hand? Basically what that line tells me is, you know, if what you know fits in the palm of your hand, that is a very, 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 very small amount of knowledge if it's fitting in the palm of your hand. You know, a lot of people don't like the truth about any of this because it kind of gives the impression that their lives are meaningless and none of this matters if this isn't real. And people don't want to face that they don't want to, you know, think that they've done a whole life based on falsehoods and tomfoolery, and it's not going to matter. You know, everybody thinks that it has to matter some way, and it does. It matters in a very, very large way, but not in the way that people think that it does. It has nothing to do with, you know, like they say, you can't take it with you, right? All of this will go back to the earth. None of this matters. You can't take it with you. Yet people are fighting over it. Hell, they'll fight over stuff that isn't even theirs yet. Wait till Black Friday comes around, and you know, how many reports have we heard about people pulling guns at Black Friday events because they want something that's on sale? See, that's part of the problem, quite honestly. So I'll just leave you with those thoughts. Welcome to the Garden of Eden. You're living it, I'm telling you. It wasn't some special place. And there were probably multiple gardens at different times. One, you know, did transgenderism. One probably did implants to hook you up to AI. Probably, you know, nothing new under the sun, right? This sun. As long as we've been under this sun, everything is still the same. Period. So, all right, I'll get off here. Love all of you. Hope you have are having a wonderful weekend. We sure are. And I'll catch you on the flip side and try to get after your comments. All right, love you all. Bye-bye. I can figure out how to turn this off. I can't see. All right.